Hi, I'm Bella Shaw. Feeding people and giving hope. That's the inspirational motto for Food Finders. Diana Lara joins us. So good to see you, Diana.
Thank you for having us.
You know, food is a terrible thing to waste, isn't it?
It is.
We see it all the time.
People throw things away constantly. They don't think about the consequences of what they're doing. You've got events that happen at convention centers, you've got concerts, you've got sporting events. Food is being thrown away constantly, and it's something that they can do something about. There's an organization like Food Finders that'll actually come out and pick this food up and then deliver it to agencies, even prepared food.
So you have what you call staged food, is that what you call it? And how does that work?
For example, yesterday we received a phone call from a movie shoot. They had 150 extra lunches that were ordered and not needed. So what they did was they contacted us. They were out in Santa Clarita. We contacted an agency very close to them who went out, picked that up, and served those for dinner that evening.
So you've got these refrigerated trucks or vans that go out to these different locations. Do they stop like at Trader Joe's or something?
Some of our bigger supporters are Trader Joe's, Ralph's, Albertsons. Those are scheduled anywhere from 5 to 7 days a week. And what we do is we actually go out either through a network of volunteers or our drivers that go out in their vehicles, pick this food up, and then take it directly to agencies.
Is this food that's getting ready to expire?
A number of things. It could be food that's getting ready to expire, like a gallon of milk. We take it to a women's shelter. It's gone the next morning at breakfast. It could be things that just didn't sell. They donate those items to Food Finders. We take them out to the different agencies, whether they're food pantries or residential facilities, women's shelters, or just a place where you can get a hot meal.
And who are the recipients? Are they children, young families, single mothers?
They're all of the above. You have families. In 2010, you had over 48 million Americans that were living in food insecure households. 16 million of those were children. So you have children, you have families, you have a lot of seniors. That's the next group that's really moving up into that bracket of needing food. Do they pay for their medicines or do they buy food?
Do you have any success stories, for example, maybe a drug-addicted mother that turned her life around or anything like that?
A lot of our agencies have wonderful success stories where they've taken in maybe a woman coming from a battered home, has now moved away, moved into some type of a shelter, and now gets meals provided, gets a source of maybe education so that she can make a difference. We also have agencies like Salvation Army that were ready to close down because they were completely out of food. And you think, how can Salvation Army be out of food? They're such a large organization. We were able to go out, buy food, stock their shelves.
Have you worked in the corporate field at all?
Absolutely.
What is it like working for a nonprofit versus a corporation?
It's very fulfilling. Every day when I go home, I know I've made a difference in more than one person's life. And that's very important. It's what we're called to do.
It's a very rewarding job. And could you put a dollar figure on what you do?
You can't. I don't do it for the money. When you work for a nonprofit, there's not a lot of money. You do it because it's the right thing to do. You're feeding people, and so much goes into that. You've got, especially for children, you've got growth issues, you've got behavioral issues. How do you learn when you're hungry? I'm sitting at my desk, and I cannot think if I'm starving. I've got to take a break, go and get something to eat. We have that option. Some of these kids don't, and that in itself is heartbreaking.
The flip side is you're feeding these people, but you're also feeding yourself, and you're setting a good example for your family.
Thank you.
If people want to donate?
We're, number one thing that we're always in need of is food. Any type of food donation, nothing is too small. I had this huge barbecue. I've got leftover frozen patties. Will you take them? Yes, absolutely. Two, I have a huge event, corporate event that canceled. I've got enough food to feed 500 people. Will you take it? Yes. So food is always the number one thing that we're looking for. Obviously, second thing is money. We need money in order to keep the organization funded. pay for the trucks that are out on the road, pay for the gas and the drivers that are in those trucks.
The alternative would have been, for example, that movie shoot that had 150 leftover lunches. They would have just maybe thrown them in the trash.
This is a second call that we've gotten from movie studios, and when I asked them, how did you hear about Food Finders? We heard about you from your website.
So it's just getting the awareness out there.
Exactly, that's huge. And the big issue for a lot of people is liability. I had a call this morning from Palo Verde School District. Can you protect me from liability? Absolutely. You're protected with the Good Samaritan Act that President Clinton put into effect. We also carry our own general liability policy.
Well, very interesting. Thank you so much for joining us in the Biz Spotlight, Diana.
Thank you again for having us on board.